Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with Manchester University. Today we have Anisa, Rory, Vidya and Aprajita with us who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start. Over to you, Anisa.
Thank you so much, Deepika. It's very nice to be here, and thank you everybody to all of you for joining us. And welcome to this session from the University of Manchester, focusing on the Global Development Institute, the GDI, at the university. This is going to be an interactive panel, and I will be handing over to my academic colleagues very shortly, but I just wanted to give you a very brief introduction to the University of Manchester. So I'm joining you as a representative of both the International Office and the Faculty of Humanities today, and both myself and my colleague Aprajita are here today to support you. So if you are a prospective student, if you're wanting to find out more about the university, there is support on hand. So we are here to advise you. If you do want to get in touch, you can feel free to direct queries to us here today. Aprajita, if you just want to sort of say hello, that would be great.
Hello, everyone. Nice to have you join us today for this session. And I wish you, a very informative session. Please be ready with your question answers in the chat box, and we'll be happy to answer you now, as well as stay in touch with you over the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, as you can see, there is a contact email on the slide here. So that's international@manchester.ac.uk. We do also have a dedicated inbox for students who are based in India. That's india@manchester.ac.uk. So either of those emails will pick up your queries and be able to help with any questions that you have. So many of you will have heard of Manchester before. It's obviously very famous for football. And I have no official affiliations with any particular teams. I'm not going to pitch a side at the moment, but it is a city full of things much more than sports. It's the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. It's one of Britain's most popular student cities, with over 100,000 students at 4 different higher education institutions. And Manchester is regarded by many as the UK's second city after London. It's an incredibly diverse place to live and study. And I personally found that one of the nicest things about my studies at Manchester back when I was an undergrad. We are a sort of a high performer in a variety of rankings around the world. We're 27th best university in the QS World Rankings this year. We're also very well known by some of the top employers in the UK and internationally. We are a very diverse student population as well. So we have over 40,000 students at the university, and over a quarter of these are international. Just a few kind of highlights about the university there for your interest. Manchester is located right in the heart of the UK, as you can hopefully see from this map on screen. So it's very well situated in terms of getting around the UK, and it's actually very easy to get into Manchester itself with an international airport just 30 minutes away from campus. It also doesn't take long to get to London by train, often in under 2 hours. This image gives you a sense of scale of the university campus in relation to the city centre of Manchester. It's all very much contained in one place. It's like a nice student village kind of environment with classrooms, libraries, learning facilities, alongside shops, restaurants and cafes and accommodation, all in one place. And it takes a convenient 10 to 15 minutes to walk into the city centre. And this is an image of the campus at its heart. So you can see that it's a nice mixture of old and new architecture. The very modern building in the centre there is the Alan Gilbert Learning Commons, and that is a 24-hour learning facility for our students. So you can use that any time of day all throughout the year. And we also have the Whitworth building, which is the one with the red roof and the tower in the background. This is where you graduate from when you finish your studies at Manchester. And it's one of our most iconic and historic buildings. We've been going for 198 years so far, and it has been a history full of historical firsts. We've been home to 25 Nobel Prize winners, and we're very excited that you're potentially considering Manchester and, contributing your own potential firsts to its history. With that, I'd like to stop my share and ask Rory and Vidya to come forward and introduce themselves. So if I come to Rory first, if you want to say hello.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Rory Horner. I'm a senior lecturer in the Global Development Institute, and I'm the Deputy Program Director of our group of MSc International Development Programs. I do research on various issues, particularly related to globalization, trade, and industry, and it's nice to be with you today.
Thank you so much. And can I also ask Vidya to come forward? Thank you.
Thanks, Anisa. Hello, everyone. I'm Vidya Unnikrishnan, and I'm a lecturer at the Global Development Institute. And I'm one of the program directors for MSc Development Finance. And I research in the area of social assistance programs, specifically implemented in India. So I look into old age pension program and other related issues. And I also teach in the area of development economics. Nice to be with you all.
Thank you so much to both of you. Now I'm going to pass over to Rory to deliver some information about the GDI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anisa, and also thank you, Deepika. So Vidya and I are going to provide you a little bit of an introduction to the Global Development Institute. On this slide, you see the Arthur Lewis building, which both Vidya and I are sitting in our offices in right now. Arthur Lewis was one of the pioneers of development economics. He won a Nobel Prize in economics for his work in the 1950s, and he's really one of the founders of and key people in development theory. And he did a lot of his formative work during his time working at the University of Manchester over half a century ago. And we have a modern building that we work in that has been named after him. And actually, it's the sky this morning does actually look the same color as this picture. It is actually blue sky in Manchester now. There is a bit of a reputation for there being quite a bit of rain and clouds here, but it's a very nice sunny morning here at the moment right now. So why might you think of studying at the Global Development Institute of Manchester? We have a huge range of expertise and experience in development studies. Our teaching is informed by ongoing research into development across the world. We are a large institute with colleagues who come from multiple countries across all different continents in the world. And we have a very wide range of subject areas, particularly related to big challenges and problems that we're working on that are facing the world that we are trying to do research into and teach our students on. We have a focus on applying academic research analysis to have a social impact. GDI is not just about, and it does make significant contributions on a more theoretical side, but there is a significant applied element to our work and to the different research that we do, and to our teaching. It's a very important aspect that we try and bridge theory with big challenges that are happening in the world. We have extensive networks around the world. This includes for our different research collaborators, for people that we bring in for guest lectures, and it also includes our alumni that are spread out in different countries. GDI is the largest development-focused teaching and research institute in Europe, and there's various advantages that come with this. We're able to have a wide range of staff with very specialized expertise in multiple areas. We're able to teach on a wide range of issues, and we're able to have students who are able to learn from many other students from a wide range of different countries. GDI has quite a long history in development studies. This is a picture of a very early cohort. We've only been called the Global Development Institute since 2016, but there have been various earlier iterations of our institute. And we are now, I think, 64 years old, founded in 1958. So there is a long history of work here and a very well-regarded reputation for our institute in the wider field. What other reasons might you think of GDI in Manchester? We do have scholarship opportunities for outstanding applicants. There are some bursaries that are going to be available for students from India for this coming year. A small number will be available that will be very competitive. Students are a really key part of our research community. Our lecture series features former heads of state. Helen Clark, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, for example, gave one of our lectures, the annual GDI lecture 3 years ago. We just had a panel yesterday evening in the GDI lecture series looking at global vaccine inequality with speakers from Médecins Sans Frontières, Save the Children, and LSE. So there's often prominent speakers and practitioners of development issues who will be coming to Manchester, and you'll have an opportunity to listen to them and to engage with them, asking questions, etc., as part of our public series of events, as well as your regular lecture and tutorial schedule, which you'll have. Manchester is an exciting city. I originally come from Dublin in Ireland. I've been in Manchester now for almost 9 years, but it's a very livable city. As Anissa said, there is a very good campus, but it's also in close proximity to a city center. So you have both the advantages of a kind of campus feel, but also lots of the amenities of a city, which are really closely and easily available to you. GDI research, the university's research, not just GDI, has actually been ranked first in the world for impact on the Sustainable Development Goals. This was by the Times Higher Education rankings on this. So the SDGs have been something that the university as a whole has really engaged with very proactively. GDI's research was ranked first in the UK for impact in the most recent REF, which is a UK ranking exercise of different departments in the field. So we had very high impact research. One of the prominent examples of that was one of our colleagues whose research helped persuade Cadbury's to convert their sourcing of cocoa to fair trade. We're also 6th in the UK more broadly for development studies in the latest QS World Rankings by subject. So there's a lot of kind of recognition and rankings. I guess to unpick a little bit about what are the things that we actually do in more detail in terms of thematic research areas. We have had a series of big research centers which we've hosted. These are, in terms of research funding, multi-million pounds of external research funding has been awarded to these research centers. Starting in chronological order, the Effective States for Inclusive Development Research Center ran from 2010 to 2020. It was a 10-year program funded by the Department for International Development in the UK, looking at how to make the politics of inclusive development, and particularly at the nation state level, how to make governance more effective. We've had a large research center from 2018, which is almost about to come to a conclusion, on future dams, looking at a whole new series of dams that have been built in Ghana, also including in Ethiopia, to some degree in India as well, and Myanmar, and looking at how to make these dams, and particularly to, in terms of their sort of environmental impact, to make them as beneficial as possible. Our latest and biggest research center yet is the African Cities Research Consortium, which just kicked off about a year and a half ago. This is a 6-year project which is looking at about 13 cities across the African continent, looking at both the politics and also the various systems of to make those cities more inclusive on this continent, which is both fastly growing in terms of population, but especially these cities are seen as key for the future of the African continent. So it's just one sample of some of the big research centers. We also have 7 broader research groups, which the colleagues teaching you at the Global Development Institute are doing research on. Digital development, migration, refugees and asylum, global urban futures, growth and distribution, politics, governance and management, global production networks, trade and labor, and agrarian change and political ecology. Why I mentioned these is that we try to do research-led teaching in GDI. The people teaching you will be very active in their research fields, and many of them will be real leaders and pioneers of that particular research field, not just in the UK or Europe, but globally recognized for their work in that area. And so we try to bring the latest cutting edge research that people are doing into our master's level teaching, which we do through our various master's programs. So to talk a little bit more about those programs, we have a very large international community of students on our postgraduate taught courses. There's over 21 different courses, which are a mix of on-campus and distance learning MSCs. A number of our courses, not all of them, but a number of them do have a fieldwork opportunity where there is a module that involves, one of the parts of the module involves travel to a foreign location outside the UK to look at development issues in that particular location. Your program is structured, and we can talk about that a little bit more detail later. It's structured around a series of core and optional modules. These master's programs are comprised of 8 individual modules which you take, plus dissertation, which is a large independent research project at the end of the master's program. And the list of the different core and optional modules for each of these programs is clearly laid out on our website. There are some funding opportunities for the master's programs. I think the most significant ones that are likely to be especially relevant for applicants from India are bursaries. There is some information which will be shortcoming relatively soon about those, which will be available even for our incoming September 2022 entry. That said, these funding opportunities at the master's level are very highly competitive, and there are so to be aware of that. There's a wide range of career options which our alumni go on to do. I think, and these really cross different, from the private sector into governments, into NGO type work, across a wide range of different types of subjects. Perhaps one of the best ways I could recommend to get a sense of some of these is we have a very good range of student spotlights on our website. From this link below, you can just follow to the GDI website and look at the taught master's programs, and then there'll be a tab to look at student spotlights. These give you a sample of the career trajectories of some of our relatively recent alumni from the Global Development Institute. To just highlight 3 examples here, Amani Abu Zaid is originally from Egypt. She's actually currently the Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy for the African Union. She did study at the GDI about 20 years ago, so it's perhaps unrealistic to go immediately from graduating to become the Commissioner at the African Union, but she has had a very impressive career trajectory since she has graduated from the UK. And there's also former alumni here, examples including the Madagascar ambassador to the UK and the current president of Colombia's public pension and social security program. So now I'm going to ask Vidya to talk. We'll just talk a little bit about a sample of some of our master's programs, which we can also then talk further about in the discussion. But I'll ask Vidya to talk a bit about our development economics and public policy courses.
Thanks, Rory. So I'm going to discuss about the development economics and public policy course. This is basically jointly run by the Global Development Institute and the School of Social Sciences. So there are basically multiple pathways in it. You can choose to specialize in development finance, public sector management, or look into development economics itself. So who is this course targeted to? So if you are somebody who's interested to understand about the issues on poverty and inequality, and why is poverty and inequality rising up in developing country context, and what are the different factors contributing to it, and how is it interrelated to environment and trade, then this is a course that is suitable for you. So if you're interested to know about these kind of broader development related issues, or in particular issues happening in Global South, I would suggest you looking into this particular course on MSc Development Economics. The details of the courses are given here. So you can follow the link to understand more about what kind of optional modules can you take and what are your core modules if you're planning to take MSc Development Economics. Can we move to the next slide, please? So as Rory mentioned, we pride in ourselves in doing research-led teaching. For example, I teach the course on anti-poverty transfers at the Global Development Institute. So in this particular course, we discuss about the emergence of large-scale cash transfer programs happening in Global South and what impact does it have with respect to poverty reduction. And this completely overlaps with my research because my research focuses on cash transfer programs like social pension program and what impact does it have. So in a way, we do research-led teaching. So this helps us to give students latest cutting-edge research happening in this particular area, what are the research findings, and how is it gets translated into policy. So it facilitates for us to have discussions on it, informing them about the recent research happening. And it's also an intellectually stimulating environment. So you will be interacting with diverse faculties who are coming from different backgrounds, who are researching on different regions. And you will also be interacting with students who are also coming from different background. So this will help you to understand, critically think about different policies and why is a policy working in one place and not working in another place, basically evaluating different ideas. And also with MSc Development Economics, so in the core modules, because either if you're going to take Development Finance or PPM, your core module in the first semester is going to be on research skills on economic development. And in this particular module, we aim to develop students' understanding on data. So in this module, we are going to discuss about econometrics and like statistics. So and another thing, what your skill set, what you're also going to develop is how to use data set and developing a strong familiarity in applied econometrics, which is also a key job market skill in the recent days. So whichever path you're going to choose, even with MSc Development Economics, like if you're not taking DF or PPM, even there you will be doing applied development economics project where we will be asked to replicate paper. So one of the strengths that we also aim to develop in our students is basically to use large scale data sets, to develop a familiarity in using applied econometrics. And our dissertation and the whole course is structured in such a way that it will help you to be an independent researcher. So you will be developing critical ideas, forming your own dissertation topic, and as well as like on how we are planning to execute the dissertation project. So we also aim to develop the independent research skill among the students. I know all of this might sound like a lot of things that you have to do it by yourself, but which is not so. We also provide pastoral care for the students, because for students who are coming from a different country, it could be quite daunting to get settled in a new place. So you'll be working with an academic advisor throughout your stay in Manchester, where we'll be interacting with at regular intervals to monitor your academic performance, and as well as to understand about your well-being, to make sure that you are well placed in Manchester. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vidya. So I'm just going to very briefly talk then about the MSc International Development group of programs. These are in what are called our social development cluster. So they're less specifically economics focused, and they're interdisciplinary programs around a range of topics. We have a general international development program, which is very often for people who are not sure of what their specific specialization might be as they enter, and they want to take a wide sort of range of different types of development courses initially, and they usually develop some kind of specialization as they proceed through the master's program. Then we have a range of these 6 different specialized master's programs: development management, environment, climate change and development, globalization, trade and industry, politics, governance and development policy, poverty, inequality and development, and migration, mobility and displacement. And there's a lot more details about what each of these programs actually involves on our websites. You can also see student spotlights for each of these programs on the GDI website as well. Students on these set of programs, they share some modules which they take. So our core course in the first semester, we have a course called Development Fundamentals, which is really an introduction to development theory, and we cover different perspectives which have been emphasized and prioritized within development across different time periods, and also from more prominent perspectives and mainstream perspectives to critical, radical, alternative perspectives that have also been proposed. In the second semester, there's a core module which all of these programs take called Understanding Development Research, which is about research design, including research methods, and also helps prepare our students for their dissertation. All of these programs have a development fieldwork as core, except for the general international development program, where that course is an optional unit. Courses are taught by a group of staff who are very, very research active, very specialized in this field, do research-led teaching, and there is a lot of potential for students to really engage with some of the cutting-edge work across this variety of subject areas. That is a brief initial overview of some of our key master's programs and a brief introduction to the Global Development Institute. This email address you can get more information from, as well as the address india@manchester.ac.uk, which Anissa mentioned earlier. I'd really encourage you, if you want to get a sense of some of the activity going on at the Global Development Institute, to look, for example, at our Twitter account or our Facebook, which give a sense of a lot of the different talks, activities that are going on today. Just as one example, later today, we're having a film screening from a student who's come from Chile. She knows a film director, and this is a film about neoliberalism in Chile and how Chile's development trajectory in particular in the 1970s and 1980s. So this very proactive student has set up this film screening, and we'll be having that for a group of our students today. There's activities almost every single day going on at GDI that are great opportunities for you to engage with when you do come here. So I'll conclude there. We're really looking forward to further discussion with you.
Thanks very much. So I think we're now passing to Deepika just to see if we have any questions from the audience coming to us live. Have there been any questions there from the series?
Thank you so much for such a knowledgeable presentation. We are now moving towards the Q&A session. So the first question the student is asking, thank you for taking time giving us this presentation. My question for you is that, do you have graduate students with family accompanied? Is there any support provided for? Anissa, you are on mute.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that it is possible to bring family members with you when studying. The university has managed accommodation, but at the moment we do not have much in the way of family appropriate accommodation. That said, because we are in a major city, there is a lot of accommodation available in the private sort of sector. And I would probably actually recommend that anybody bringing family would look in that kind of area for accommodation. Just it's important to bear in mind that family members will need their own visas and things like that. So looking at dependent visas, etc. We do have a visa team at the university that can help with advice on this. So you can contact visa@manchester.ac.uk if you are thinking of applying and you need advice on that particular topic. I'll put the email address into the chat so that Deepika can share this.
Yes, thank you. The next question. If we required to quarantine for 14 days upon our arrival, will the college help us, and how can we access our lessons?
I'm happy to take that one. So At the moment, the sort of there is not that requirement, but basically we will respond proactively to any kind of requirements that come out of the COVID-19 situation, and students incoming to the University of Manchester will be advised well in advance of their travel of any kind of rules that they need to follow. Over the past 2 years, of course, the university has helped with the cost of accommodation and the whole package related to mandatory quarantine. So there is precedent for that support to be available. But because we're not in that situation at the moment, it would be something that we would need to respond to, and we would sort of send out information around that if needed at the time.
Can I add a bit more, Anisa?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so for accessing the lessons, for example, for now we are doing dual delivery because there are some students who are not able to travel from the country, especially from China, with strict rules. If you're not living in a bigger city, it's very hard for students to move from a small city because there are local restrictions for them to access flights. So some students haven't been able to come to Manchester, but we are doing dual delivery. So all the lectures will be happening on face and as well as on the virtually at the same time together. So if you're located in a different location and if you have a restriction under which you cannot come to the university, and if the university has given you the permission about it, then you can access the lectures remotely, and we make sure that there's cross interaction happening both with the students who are present within the classroom and as well as virtually.
Thank you. The next question: what is the application process? Please explain.
Maybe I can sort of pass to Aprajita for this particular one, just to give some guidance and any particular guidance for Indian students.
Yes, thanks, Anisa. So if you wish to apply to the University of Manchester, the first thing would be, of course, to go on our website and check the specific entry requirements for the course. We do require students to come to study with us from, the top ranking institutions in India. And we are looking at your overall grades as well as the specific modules you've studied in your bachelor's degree. So that would also be something that will be assessed by our admissions team. So you have to meet our overall academic entry qualifications. Besides that, we also ask students to provide us with the English language test scores. So this could be in the form of your any exams you've given, like IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson. So there are some options which are listed on our website again. And then we also ask you to provide us with a statement of purpose and letter of recommendation. And we'll be happy to, be in touch with you after this session. I'll share the email address where you can contact us if you're interested. Another thing I'd like to mention would be that please apply to the university as soon as possible in the year that you want to go. So we start receiving applications 1 year in advance. And we have one intake in September, and it starts. So as early as possible would be the key. So, that's what I can share right now. Back to you.
That's great. I was just wondering if either Rory or Vidya would want to add anything about what you would look for specifically in the GDI, if you can give any advice to students who are thinking about applying to master's programs in this area.
I can say something briefly. We do have students that come from a very wide range of different backgrounds prior to coming to GDI. We are not necessarily looking for one particular prior degree or set of skills. I think for Vidya might add, for some of her programs, it's probably a bit more of an emphasis on having some prior econometric skills, but also a training available for when people come here. We do try and we'll have people coming from different prior academic backgrounds, many people who English is not their first language. So we do start off many of our courses without any assumption of prior knowledge, but they're quite fast paced and we do move through things quite quickly. So I think what we're less looking for is a prior background, but more a lot of enthusiasm and fit and excitement for the subject area which you are going to be studying for your master's, so that you're willing to put in not just turning up to the lectures, but doing the readings, contributing to discussions, and getting involved in the different activities on at the Institute when you come here. Vidya, is there anything that you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, I agree. Like we have students coming from a wide range of background. Like some of them take accounting and management in their undergrad and still come for development economics. So what, as Rory mentioned, we look for enthusiasm, like you're keen to learn about these issues because that is the primary factor, because there's a lot of support given by the university that will help students to transit in their academic journey. Like we have students who come with previous work experiences as well. So they've not been studying for a long period of time. Like they've been working with NGO and a different other sector, and now they want to shift to like back to their master's degree. So we do work with a wide range of students.
Thank you. The next question, do you offer placements?
We don't offer placements within our regular master's program. It is a very busy program in that we have 2 semesters of coursework followed by a dissertation. Some students do a kind of internship type placement, sometimes after they've submitted the dissertation and they're waiting for their degree to finish, or afterwards. But for the most part, it is a 1-year master's program, and there is not that space or opportunity within the program.
Can I add a bit, Rory?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so but we have a dedicated career services team. So if you have like they'd send you any update on if there are any employment opportunity available, and if there is any like campus meet happening with any companies, and they're also willing to look into your CV, provide you feedback and things like that. So you have a career services team that will be providing you support for you to transit from studies to employment.
Thank you. The next question. Hi, I would like to know, do the course under GDI provide placement?
I think we've just answered that question, so we can move on to the next one.
Thank you. The next question, is there any accommodation deadline? Is the accommodation secured?
I'm happy to answer that one. So the accommodation applications open as soon as you receive an offer to study at the university, and usually the application deadline is the 31st of August each year. So you have a good long period to make that application. One thing to say is that it's guaranteed for all international students who wish to have it. So if you make an application, you will be allocated a place in university managed accommodation. I don't know if there's anything you would want to add, Apra. Is there any other kind of advice you would want to give on that?
Just to add, Anisa, that we have a wide choice of accommodation options available. So right from cater to self-catering, from shared to ensuite, and different locations. So there are many options available, and they are very close to the campus. Starting from 5 to 10 minutes, going up to 25 to 35 minutes. Walking distance, very well connected. So you'll have lots of different choice of accommodation available. And just to add to the previous question on placement, the support of the career service is available for up to 2 years after you graduate. So not just for the duration of the course, but you can continue to have access to information and all the resources and any networking support you need from the career service for up to 2 years.
Thank you. The next question. Hi, I am from BCom background. Would I be eligible for MSc International Development, Environment, Climate Change and Development?
From an economics background?
Yeah, from BCom, Bachelor's in Commerce.
Oh, Bachelor of Commerce. Okay, yes, you're welcome to come from that. I mean, we even have students who come from, say, philosophy, art history, different types of subjects before. We don't have a prior, as I said before, a prior expectation necessarily on your degree background. But what we would really hope is that you will have a strong interest in environment, climate change and development to do that program. And the courses will be starting assuming that you don't necessarily have a prior background, but they will move quite quickly to give you some advanced training in that field.
Thank you. The next question. Can you please tell me more about real estate development master's course? What are the course detail and fees? Any scholarship available?
Anissa, I think that's in the planning department. I don't think that's in GDI.
I don't think it is. Apra, are you able to advise a little bit on the real estate development course at all?
It would be best if I can share my contact details and maybe discuss on the program. Yes, one-to-one. So I'm just going to share my contact details, Deepika, if that can be passed on to the student, and I'll be happy to take it on from there. Thanks.
Okay. So we are moving towards the next question. What is the IELTS score needed for master's program?
Sorry, it took me a little while to unmute myself. It's normally between an IELTS 6.5 or 7, but typically we're able to accept a number of qualifications from an Indian curriculum background. So from high school level, if you've studied certain board exams. Again, with that kind of thing, with your specific requirement, like if you have a particular certificate, you can book a one-to-one with APRA or the colleagues in the international office. And also this information is available on the course profiles.
Thank you. The next question. Are you hosting career days during the studies?
We have, there was even a career, I think the video, there was one earlier this week, right? I don't know.
There are events they organize, career events. Yeah.
And so there's some that are at the broader university level, and we've also had one or two that are specific to careers in international development, and also an event with some alumni to talk about how their careers have developed since their time studying with us at GDI.
Thank you. The next question. What is the deadline for 2022 intake?
The deadlines vary depending on the program that you're applying for. So some have staged admissions, they have like different entry or sort of admissions points throughout the year. But there is no, other than that, official closing date. So we don't have a hard deadline for applications. I would just say that if anybody is looking to make applications, to do so as soon as possible for the year that they're wishing to enter.
Thank you. The next question. Are there any specific scholarship for course related to GDI?
So I think the main ones that are specific to, unfortunately, the web page information is not yet available, but it should be available in the next week or so. There will be some bursaries which will be relevant to students applying from India, and those will involve some fee reductions. There will still be, it's not a full scholarship, but it's some reduction in the fee for which those will be available on a competitive basis for a small number of students from India for coming into GDI for September 22.
Thank you. The next question.
Sorry, could I just add on that? There is also a scholarship that is kind of humanities faculty wide, so not just specific to the GDI, but there are some programs eligible for this, and I'll just copy the link to this in the chat. So Deepika, are you able to share this at all?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat there. So that is an automatic scholarship for anybody who achieves a specific grade in their previous bachelor's degree.
Okay, thank you. The next question. The application TOT with offer update.
Sorry, could you repeat that one?
The application TOT, like TOT with offer update.
I'm not sure what the question is.
Yeah, I think this question is not typed properly. So just asking the student to like type it in
They could rephrase, yeah, just so we can understand and help.
Okay. So the next question, what is the percentage of students being placed in the industry?
Do you happen, it's okay if not, Rory and Vidya, but do you happen to have any kind of data on that kind of thing, or not really?
I'm not sure of a specific number, but I think a large number of students would end up working in the private sector. I don't know, would you agree with that, Vidya?
Yeah, like a large percentage of the students, like, yeah, I don't have the exact number because I'm academic advisor to students, and then I supervise my students for dissertation. So we are in regular contact, at least with few students as much as I can. So they are placed in like industries like finance industries or like working with banks. Some go with NGOs and research working as a researcher, but predominantly most of them do get placed in industries.
It depends a little bit on the degree program.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
In MSc Development Economics, they join more like banks or like big multinational companies or like accounting firms and things like that.
Yeah, and more widely, this is a very generalized figure, but the university has quite a good reputation for the progression of students into further employment or into further study. So there is this figure of 94% graduate employability rate for the university. But yeah, it's quite difficult to track individual sort of courses or departments, but there is some data available for the university as a whole.
Thank you. The next question, can I pay my fees in installments?
You can, as long as you open a UK-based bank account on arrival and register as part of your registration. Yeah.
Next question, what is the entry requirement for the Digital Development Masters?
I will find the course page. I don't know if anybody out of Rory or Vidya has any sort of advice on that particular one.
Neither Vidya or I are directly involved in that program, but there should be also a name of a contact person who we could put you in contact with if you did have any further specific questions about that program.
Thank you.
Typically, I don't know, Apra, if you have a sort of generalized advice for entry requirements for Indian applicants at master's level. And I'll post the link to the...
Sure. So generally speaking, from India, we look for a first division or a higher second division. And when we are assessing application, we look at your, your grade average, your position in class, the ranking or standing of the institution where you have studied. So all these together then help the admissions team to decide. And so particularly for certain specific courses across the university, there would be specific background requirement in terms of what you've studied in your bachelor's degree. But for many, for some of the courses that we are talking about today, international development, as Rory and Vidya have been sharing, we accept students from a wide, backgrounds. We look for a lot of motivation and enthusiasm for you to do that course. So it would vary from one school to the other, one department to the other. So it's best to check on our course pages for the entry requirements. And of course, we have, India team here based in Delhi, in Gurgaon. So you can always stay in touch with us. We work very closely with SI UK. So you can also stay in touch with the SI UK offices. They have a number of staff working across India. But we have a dedicated team for University of Manchester in Delhi. Feel free to be in touch with us, and we can, discuss and share with you specific requirements for the program that you are interested in, and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. The next question, can I enroll in your master's program with an undergraduate degree in international management without any work experience?
I think the answer there would be yes, wouldn't it?
The answer would be yes, yeah. And I mean, we have our students with a mixture of both, some who have come straight from a bachelor's degree and others who have up to 10 years of work experience, and both of those types of students can get a lot out of our master's programs.
Thank you. The next question is GMAT and IELTS compulsory for masters in supply chain?
The supply chain management degree is actually in the Alliance Manchester Business School, which is a department of the university. For all courses at the university, there will be an English language requirement, and the most common test that people will submit will be IELTS. GMAT is not required generally at all for master's courses. The only place where a GMAT is looked at is for example, an MBA, which does have a 3-year professional experience requirement that also sits in the business school.
Thank you. The next question. The next question, can you please tell me the deadline for 2022 intake? I think you've already answered this. And if there is any scholarship available, like any other scholarship which the student can apply for?
I think we covered sort of answers to the scholarships as well.
Thank you, and thank you so much for answering all the questions. I think I've covered all the questions from the chat box, and now we are moving towards the end of this seminar. I would request if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now.
Vidya, is there anything you want to add? Or, I mean, I think last time we have talked a bit before about, I mean, you mentioned about pastoral care, but it is, I guess you see these courses on the website, you know there's going to be a lot of different students from different countries, but you will have an academic advisor who is assigned to you, who will meet with you in induction week when you come. We'll try and learn about your background. We'll talk through your course choices with you. Will be somebody available to talk with you if you have any issues at different stages of the program. You'll also take courses ranging from larger lectures into small tutorial groups where you'll have an opportunity and sometimes do group work to work closely with other groups of people. So there is quite a personalized element, and you'll also get an independent supervisor or a distinct supervisor assigned to supervise your dissertation, which is this big independent research project towards the end of the master's program. So I think there is a kind of wider system you're part of, but there will also hopefully be a personalized touch to the academic mentoring and support available to you from staff, and also working with smaller groups of students from different parts of the world as well that you'll get to know and hopefully make friends for life from people from many different countries.
Thank you. Actually, we have 2 more questions in the chat box. Can I please say those questions?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first question, do you accept students for mid-year entry studied from Singapore first year and second year bachelor's business stream?
If by mid-year entry, it's not really usually possible to kind of do transfers or anything like that, especially because master's programs are only 1 year in length. We do only have 1 intake each year, which is around that sort of end of September or beginning of October. So we would be fixed to those times.
Thank you. The last question, can we apply for 2023 admissions in September intake?
Yes, you can.
Like they can apply from now onwards?
Yeah, so the application system is open and can take applications for people looking for 2023 entry. It's likely that the application will kind of be seen a bit later in time as they start processing them at the beginning of the new academic year. So that is, closer to September time 2022.
Thank you so much, Anisa. And in the end, I would like to say, if you have any final words for the students, please move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say thank you very much to everybody for joining, and a huge thanks to our academic colleagues for joining and sharing so much really interesting information about the programs that you specialise in, and showing us that it can also be very blue and skied and sunny in Manchester. Did you guys want to add anything, any last pieces of advice for anybody who's watching?
Thank you so much for your kind words. To all the audience, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact our SIUK India offices. We'll be more than happy to help you. And in the end, I would like to say thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time today. Bye-bye. Take care.